at Manchester City's Etihad Stadium. It was Brentford that went ahead inside of 30 seconds, but City turned it around, 2 for Erling Haaland after a difficult week personally for him. What did you see in this game, Stevie? And although the scoreline suggests it was tight, did Manchester City do more than enough to get all 3 points?
Eventually they did. And it kind of, watching both Liverpool and City, it sort of doubled me down on the international week factor, because Manchester City were slow out the blocks. Now, Brentford, they come out the blocks flying, scored after not even a minute. I think it was like 35 seconds. John Stones and Edison got muddled together. Stones miscleared it and whisked a header into an empty net. It could have been a lot worse here, and Bomo had a chance 5 minutes later, and then Edison had to make a save from Collins from a corner. The ball, if the ball goes any other place other than straight at Edison, it's 2-0. And so after 10 minutes, it really should have been 2 and could have been 3. But then Erling Haaland took over. At half-time, they were 2-1 up, and it was actually Erling Haaland 2, Brentford 1, because he scored the first goal from nowhere, just a ball that ricocheted about in the penalty box. He bounced on it, turned and stuck it in the back of the net, and then clearance from Edison. Haaland was left one-on-one with Pinnock. Pinnock made it to it. Haaland threw on goal. He's going to score because that's what he does. And of course he did. Nice little dink over the keeper. And they go in at half-time 2-1 up, having really been outplayed for the majority of that first half. So, yeah, City to me had a bit of the international break hangover as well as Liverpool. But they had a guy called Erling Haaland who took them in at half-time 2-1 up, and then pretty much service was resumed second half. The longer the game wore on, the more on top City were. They didn't take any of their opportunities. Haaland probably should have and could have had his hat-trick. Savinho maybe should have scored, could have had a couple, but they didn't score again. But as I said, by the end of the game, normal service was resumed, and City, in the end, deserved to win the game.
So is that the difference between City and the rest? They come back from an international break, they're not at their best, and they still get 3 points? Or do you want to narrow it right down and say Erling Haaland is the difference between Manchester City and the rest?
Erling Haaland's the difference. There's no question about it. 100%. He was the reason that Manchester City got 3 points today.
If we look at the way that the team was set up, he started Rico Lewis at right back for the opening 3 games of the season. But Kyle Walker came back and he moved Rico Lewis to the left. And it was interesting listening to his pre-game notes and his pre-game press conference where he's saying it's not his best position, but when he comes in centrally from the left, Rico Lewis, he's better in there. What does it say with the Champions League just around the corner that he'd rather play Rico Lewis there and then take him off at half-time than someone like Josip Gvardiol because Nathan Ake's out injured?
I think it just speaks to the depth that City have. Like the rest of us, I'm sure he respected Brentford, but knew that if they were anywhere close to their best, they would win the game. And so you add those two things together, the fact that they're big favourites to win the game, the fact that they've got a deep squad, the fact that they've got that game coming up. Because I'm pretty sure Gvardiol is his preferred left back right now.
Yeah.
But the fact that he can make that change just tells you again, no surprise, the depth of their squad. And of course, they do end up winning the game also.
It's one of those as well that he can keep players fresh. I know he came on and looked good going forward, Gvardiol, but the likelihood is he's probably going to start in midweek.
Yeah.
Game week 4, Liverpool have lost, Manchester City have won, Arsenal to play on Sunday. Just finally, over kind of riding feeling based on what you've seen from Liverpool so far, no reason to panic. And for City, a little bit different from some recent years. they've got off to a blistering start, whereas last year they took a little bit of time to get going.
Yeah, I don't think you panic. If you're at Arne Slot, as I said, you sit down and figure out the reasons and the problems that were created today. But no, you don't panic. It's too early for that. There are going to be days where you're not at your best. I think this is just one of those games, certainly as early as it is in the season, you put it down to that. And for City, it's a case of, yes, they weren't at their best, but you know what? Champions are champions for a reason. When they're at their best, they win. And when not at their best, they somehow manage to win as well. And that's pretty much what they did today.
Man City versus Brentford live. Premier League result, match stream and latest updates today. Manchester City beat Brentford 2_1 goals 2-1 at home on Saturday to maintain their perfect start to the Premier League season after Erling Haaland netted twice, following the fastest goal of the season from the visitors. Brentford had the perfect start when Yoane Wissa opened the scoring 22 seconds after kickoff to stun the Etihad Stadium, but Haaland restored parity in the 19th minute when he scored from a tight angle with just his second touch of the game. Haaland then made it 2-1 when Ederson booted the ball upfield where the Norwegian striker outmuscled defender Ethan Pinnock and chipped the ball past goalkeeper Mark Flekken for his 9th goal of the season. As Haaland searched for that third goal, which would have made him the first player to score hat-tricks in 3 straight Premier League games, Flekken made several saves to deny the league's top scorer, but City held on to seal the 3 points. Man City versus Brentford. Latest news: Erling Haaland at the double for Premier League champions. Erling Haaland at the double for Premier League champions. Erling Haaland bagged another brace as Premier League champions Manchester City came from behind to beat Brentford. Haaland struck twice and was the width of the post away from becoming the first player in Premier League history to score hat-tricks in 3 successive games as City recorded their 4th straight win. Pep Guardiola's men were stunned by a goal from Yoane Wissa after just 22 seconds, but Haaland, who now has 9 for the season, turned the game around with a first-half double. The striker had been a doubt for the game following the death of a close family friend, but his performance was as good as ever. Erling Haaland beats Wayne Rooney record as Man City overcome Brentford scare. Erling Haaland was unable to make it 3 hat-tricks in a row as Manchester City came from behind to beat Brentford 2-1, but he still claimed another slice of Premier League history. Haaland needed to be at his lethal best as City came from behind and struggled with an excellent performance from Thomas Frank's men at the Etihad Stadium. Yoane Wissa capitalized upon an error-strewn passage of play from kickoff to give Brentford the lead after 22 seconds, the quickest goal ever scored by an away team at the Etihad Stadium. The Bees continued to pose plenty of problems for Pep Guardiola's reigning champions, but Haaland showed his poacher's instincts to snaffle Kevin De Bruyne's pass and send a deflected strike beyond Mark Flekken. City then went route 1 as Ederson spotted the only main flaw in Brentford's largely excellent man-to-man press. Haaland was left 1-1 against Ethan Pinnock. The Brazilian goalkeeper pumped a long ball and the striker's strength, pace and finesse did the rest. For us, he is an incredible weapon, Guardiola said afterwards. 1-1. When you isolate him against the central defender with the quality that you have with Ederson and Stefan Ortega for the long balls, it's a weapon we have to explode, we have to use it. Flekken and the Brentford backline conspired to deny Haaland a 3rd consecutive match ball to go with the couple he picked up against Ipswich Town and West Ham prior to the international break. However, after breaking the Premier League single-season scoring record in 2022-23, Haaland now has the largest goals haul after 4 matches in the history of the competition with 9, usurping Wayne Rooney's 8 in the 2011-12 season. It's unbelievable. 9 now this season. I think that's more than my best tally I've had in the Premier League, and he's done it after 4 games, said Jack Grealish, whose best single-season effort was indeed 8 goals for Aston Villa in 2019-20. He's an unbelievable player, an unbelievable person. He gets everything he deserves because he works so hard on and off the pitch. He's just an absolute machine in front of goal, and I can't speak highly enough of him.